Rain hammered against the windshield as Marcus pulled his truck into the empty parking lot. His daughter Emma sat in the back seat clutching her worn teddy bear. It was past 9 on a Thursday night, and they had nowhere to go. 3 months ago, Marcus lost his job at the manufacturing plant where he worked for 15 years. The bills piled up faster than he could count them. Last week, the landlord changed the locks. Now they were living in his old Chevy, surviving on fast food. And Marcus glanced at Emma in the rearview mirror. She was only 7, but her eyes held the weight of someone much older. He promised himself he would fix this. He had to. The soup kitchen closed at 8, but sometimes they left food by the back door. Marcus knew because he checked every night. As he stepped out into the rain, he told Emma to stay in the truck and lock the doors. The alley behind the community center was dark and smelled of wet concrete. Marcus walked slowly, checking near the dumpsters. That is when he saw her. A woman in an expensive coat was crouched by the back door, arranging boxes of food. Her blonde hair was pulled back, and even in the dim light, Marcus recognized her face. Victoria Chen, CEO of Chen Industries, the largest employer in the county. Her face was on billboards and in newspapers. She was worth millions. What was she doing here? Alone in an alley at night. Victoria looked up and their eyes met. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then she stood slowly, brushing rain from her coat. "Please," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the rain. "Don't tell anyone you saw me." Marcus stood frozen. He had seen her at company events years ago when Chen Industries partnered with his old plant. She always seemed untouchable, surrounded by security and assistants. But here in this alley, she looked small and tired. The boxes at her feet were filled with sandwiches, fruit, and bottled water. "Why are you doing this?" Marcus heard himself ask. Victoria's hands trembled slightly as she adjusted her coat. "My daughter," she said quietly. "She died 5 years ago. Leukemia. She was 8. Marcus felt his chest tighten. "I'm sorry," he said. Victoria nodded, her eyes distant before she got sick. "We would volunteer here together every Thursday night. She loved helping people. After she passed, I couldn't stop coming. But the board and my investors, they wouldn't understand. They think charity should be about tax write-offs and publicity, not getting your hands dirty in an alley." She looked at Marcus, really looked at him. "You have kind eyes," she said. "Are you here for food?" Marcus wanted to lie. Pride was a heavy thing to carry, but Emma was in that truck hungry and cold. "Yes," he said simply. Victoria's expression softened. She reached into one of the boxes and began filling a bag. "How old is your child?" 7. Marcus said, "A daughter." Victoria's hand paused for just a moment, then she continued packing. She added extra sandwiches, juice boxes, and fruit at the bottom. She placed something wrapped in paper for emergencies, she said, handing him the bag. Marcus looked inside. Beneath the food was $500 in 20s. He looked up quickly. "I can't take this." "Yes, you can," Victoria said firmly. "My daughter taught me that kindness isn't about grand gestures. It's about seeing someone who needs help and helping them. No cameras, no press releases, just one human being caring for another." Marcus felt tears sting his eyes. He couldn't remember the last time someone saw him as a person instead of a problem. "Thank you," he whispered. Victoria smiled, but it was sad around the edges. "Come back next Thursday night," she said. "There's always food here, and if you need work, my company has openings in the warehouse. The pay is good and there are benefits. I'll make sure your application gets seen." "Why would you do this for me?" Marcus asked. because someone once did it for me. Victoria said, "When I was your age, I was homeless too. Living in my car with nothing but student loans and dreams. A stranger gave me a chance." She paused, looking up at the rain. I never forgot what it felt like to be invisible, to have people look through you like you don't exist. I won't let that happen to others. Not if I can help it. Over the next few months, Marcus came back every Thursday. He got the warehouse job and slowly rebuilt his life. He and Emma moved into a small apartment. Nothing fancy, but it was theirs. Victoria was always there on Thursday nights arranging boxes in the alley. They would talk quietly about life and loss and second chances. She never asked for anything in return. One Thursday, Marcus brought Emma with him. The little girl looked at Victoria with wide eyes. "Are you an angel?" she asked. Victoria laughed softly. "No, sweetheart. I'm just someone who believes we're supposed to take care of each other." Emma smiled. Dad says the same thing. 2 years passed. Marcus became a shift supervisor. Emma thrived in school, making friends and joining the art club. But Marcus never forgot those nights in the alley. One evening, the local news ran a story about anonymous donations, feeding hundreds of families. They were trying to find out who the mystery donor was. Marcus smiled. He never told anyone about Victoria. That was her gift to give in her own way. On a Thursday night 5 years after they first met, Marcus returned to the alley. Victoria was there as always. He handed her an envelope. "What's this?" she asked. Marcus smiled. "There's a young mother who just lost her job. She has 2 kids and nowhere to go. I gave her some money and told her about the Thursday night donations. But I thought you should know her story." Victoria opened the envelope. Inside was information about the family and a check. "I can't take your money," Victoria said. Marcus shook his head. "You taught me that kindness creates more kindness. Now I get to pass it on." Victoria's eyes filled with tears. She hugged him tightly. "My daughter would have liked you," she whispered. Marcus smiled. "I think Emma would have liked her too." They stood together in the rain. 2 people who understood that the smallest acts of compassion could change everything. In a world that often felt cold and harsh, they had found warmth in unexpected places, and they had learned that sometimes the greatest strength comes from admitting we need help, and the greatest courage comes from offering it. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below about a time someone showed you unexpected kindness. Let's keep the spirit of compassion alive together.